Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another BTNeanderthal video. Today we are going to be covering what BTDiablo is at its core. This mod is pretty extensive, but the feel of Diablo 2 at its core. I really did not, when I made this, I really did not want to venture off too far, and I wanted to anchor myself to something in this mod. What I did end up doing is anchoring it to skills, and we changed a bunch of other things. We want to make the early game last longer, the mid game last longer, and the end game last way longer, with potentially infinite gearing options and things like that. Make things that are rares very good, make things like crafting really good, stuff like that. So here we're just going to do a quick overview of what the mod is, and then what we're going to do is we're going to jump into more details. So in the first little bit, we're going to just go over real fast what it actually is. Obviously there's a bunch of credits here of people that have been really helping out, especially Gloomy recently, who's been really helpful. He's been like helping me do some things so I didn't have to do it, so I really appreciate him coming out and helping me with stuff like that. So as far as the actual game, there are things like item levels are shown on items. We have runes and gems and essences, stacking. We have 3 additional shared stash tabs for single player. This is a single player mod, by the way. It is all soft coded. There is no third party software or anything like that. The game is harder as well. It is a much harder game, but you can also gear and negate some of that difficulty to some extent. However, the game is, it will still punish you even when you're really geared if you're not careful. So there's no moment where you're just like, hey, I'm entirely totally safe. Maybe if you're ultra geared in the late game, but it's a dangerous game. So we start off with negative resistance. This only affects the player. I didn't want it to affect summons because they already struggle on mercenaries and stuff. We start off with negative minus 199 MF. Like, a lot of people might not like this at all, just like looking at it at like face value. They're like, well, I like items, I like drops, like why would you do this? So this is actually to help your creativity. When's the last time you've crafted an item? Like, probably a long time ago, and if it was an item that you crafted, it was probably a caster amulet. So we buffed crafting, we made it something that you actually want to go for. We made gold valuable. And we encouraged blue items to be good, or to be something utilized for a lot longer, and yellow items to be something prized for. I did mess with a little bit with affixes to make things a little bit better. Nothing too crazy, but things to make better. We also buffed melee, so that basically, imagine it like everything's ethereal, and then ethereal is an additional bonus. So I buffed everything by 50%. Including crossbows. Bows, almost that much damage, but not quite. So all those things are super viable now. The Heroic Cube is kind of like now your inventory, because you can have a you can have all your charms in your main inventory, and then you can just, like, you know, put everything that you want in the cube as kind of like your regular inventory. So it's kind of like stash, or it's kind of like charm inventory mechanics or something like that, because I couldn't implement that easily without people taking advantage and cheating and stuff. It would also look weird. But anyways, we buffed the stamina, so stamina is not as harsh, as well as the attack rating in the early game greatly. We didn't change it so much in the end game, but in the early game we did. We adjusted things like shrines, we adjusted rune words, buffing a bunch of rune words and nerfing Enigma, but like also making it making it so you can have access to it sooner, so you can be teleporting and not stuck on sorceress forever. We made things valuable like Zod rune with giving it plus to all skills, and then some crazy recipes with the Cham and Zod as well, making them more valuable. As I said before, we have stacking gems. We also made topaz faster unlock instead of magic find. So for example, like the ogre axe can now get up to new 5 sockets. We added a new item for unique jewel, And we adjusted some things like Annie, and we made it so more things can be socketed, basically like the belts, gloves, boots, rings, and amulets, as well as throwing weapons. Uniques, we buffed the rare uniques and the rare sets, so like Tyrell's Might now has +1 to teleport. And then the set items, we buffed them a little bit, not a crazy amount. I could touch them up again, but like, this is again what we have so far. We, made like the Bolcathos Tribal Guardian, the small mythical sword, turned it into a Colossus sword and gave it 3 sockets to start. We changed the affix pool and got rid of stamina on like pretty much everything except for the boots here with that additional 30 fast run walk plus stamina. We added some affixes, removed some things, made it so things that were 2 sockets could have 3. We added, like I said, buffed crafting. I made it so any base crafting, including eth items. So if an eth item you craft with, it'll stay eth. And then crafted items can be upped as well. So any base you want to use, so instead of being stuck on using a light belt, you can use a, shark skin, or a shark skin belt. You can use a demon hide sash to use caster crafting. Things like that. And as you can see here, we did a bunch of changes to all that. As I said earlier, we made it so gold is actually more valuable. We can buy imbues for gold at Charcy. We can buy the Larzik socket quest at Larzik, and it does a little couple extra other things like that as well. You can buy essences, you can buy reju, full rejus that is. What up, Mac? And you can also buy magic find potions. So as I mentioned earlier, you start off with -199. So if you actually farm up enough gold, 750,000 gold, then you can actually farm for 20 minutes. It says 1 hour, but I did nerf this. I've been up and down with this. It is 20 minutes. You can do a magic find potion for a bunch of MF. Then you can buy teleport stuff. You can there's so much quality of life stuff that I've added. In addition to all this stuff, the end game. There's also like recycling and things. One thing I'll just go into real fast is now you can use like bad jewels and Charcy's Malice and you'll turn into a rare jewel. Basically imbue a jewel. Because of stacked gems, I made it so 99 stacked flawless gems plus a stamina potion equals 33 perfect gems of the same type, so things like that are in there as well for quality of life. So any of the 3 organs can now be used for opening Tristram, and that is because the Uber areas now are kind of like the maps. So they're like the endgame area with like 4 times density and 4 times elite packs. It's absolutely insane, and they're level 87. So hitting 99 is much easier in this mod than it is online, that is for sure. Link of this will always be in the description as well if you want to check it out as well. Then we have the Hratli's Spiritual Herb, which is something I added. It'll repair durability on things, and it'll also replenish quantity on items. So if you find a sick ethereal item, you can keep it. In addition to that, I made an endgame itemization thing, which is basically a very expensive recipe. Gives any armor +1 teleport, +25 MF, and +25 gold find. And +1 light radius just to tell how many times you've done it. But basically this is an endgame recipe that's a repeatable thing. Same thing with the Cham, kind of a similar thing. You can just infinite scaling magic find and gold find. If you get super lucky. Again, super expensive, but those are things you can do. It helps you get off of Enigma and all that, and maybe use something else. So we have corruptions as well in this game for additional. All of the corruption in this game are sockets. They're gonna be 40% chance to roll as a random rare, essentially destroying the item, and 60% chance to roll sockets. And then when you roll sockets, these are the values and chances that something will actually happen. And I have those values here. The other day I got a 3 socket Trangul's gloves, 8% chance. So that was kind of cool. I also added unique charm corruptions, which are a little bit different, but you can't brick Annie or Hellfire Torch. You essentially break down Hellfire Torches, and then those things are your corruption piece to actually, you make Hellfire Ash by breaking the Hellfire Torch down, and you can use that to upgrade your pieces and give them corruptions. Eid's Fortune can also be corrupted and has a chance to brick at 32% chance. And just also FYI for the Standard of Heroes real quick, it is the corruption piece. So there's two ways to get Standard of Heroes. Obviously the original way, which is kill Ubers, and then the other one is to get 4 unique pieces of jewelry: unique jewel, unique ring, unique amulet. So one of the things I actually really like is you can corrupt a skiller on top of Eid's Fortune, which is pretty cool. So I like that one a lot. Then we have things like Mephisto can fly, and I just recently adjusted some drop rate things, like Duriel doesn't drop as many EP scrolls, and Countess doesn't drop as much gold. I also fixed the Countess, so now P8 is always the best for the Countess runs, making it so she can still drop the runes. I made the game a lot harder, 2 times aura range. Pretty much every single elite pack in the game is, or not elite pack, super unique in the game. The guys that are named like Rakanitshu and Eldritch, those guys are pretty much always aura enchanted. There's only like a couple super uniques that are not. But like almost every super unique are enchanted. And I increased their range and I got rid of the bad ones. So they no longer have Blessed Aim, instead they have Concentration. They no longer have Holy Fire or Holy Shock. Instead they have another like higher chance for Fanaticism, or getting Vigor. That's also something as well. I also made it so you lose 10% experience every difficulty, and made the experience penalty a little bit harsher because you have those sockets that are available now as well. So there's also more density as well in the difficulties, 5% more density in Nightmare, which is called Agony now, and then in Insanity, which was Hell, you have 25% more density on elites and just overall everything. I changed a ton of areas to be actually viable with farming and make them level 85, so you can just not really get bored and you can farm a ton of things. I've nerfed LK just by making it dangerous, and basically after Act 4, outer steps after that, so once you hit Plains of Despair, everything is 85 after that point. So everything's 85 for the rest of Act 4, and all of Act 5 is 85. Yes, that means Pindle Skin is a higher level now, 88 I think. So, yep, it's very strong. But I feel like that should have been something in the game anyways. You're in the final act of the game. I removed the Frozen Orb cooldown. I made static always at 60%. I nerfed static, so whole bunch of things like that. I nerfed multi-shot because it's actually really strong now, and I buffed ETH. So I'm really trying not to touch skills that much, as you can see. I really wanted that to be the anchor for Diablo 2, to make it and keep it that you know, to keep it like Diablo 2 oriented. So basically, just to sum it all up, we added corruptions, we fixed crafting, we changed we buffed melee quite a bit, we added a ton of quality of life, we made gold viable, and more places to farm. Also, you know, like, if you want to farm Uber keys, you can farm Bloodraven for Terror Key, or Radamant for Hate Key, and then also Isuel for Destruction Keys. So those are also options as well. Anyways, if you do want to go check out the mod and you did think all this was interesting, you can go check out my video on YouTube on how to install the mod, and I will walk you through the steps that are required to do that. Big shout out to all the credits again. The link to the description for all this stuff is below. So thank you all for watching. Hope you found this video informational. There is actually one more thing before I go that I want to mention, which is the area changes. So you know how in Act 3, you spawn in, and it's like really far away? Now you spawn in the center of town, like near Ormus, near Kane, which is really, really cool. And then same thing for Act 2, you spawn in between Lysander and Farah, and then the TPs aren't far away either. So I made it so farming the game is going to be way better in any act that you want to do. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Much love. You are all beasts.